Live from the state capitol in Jackson, this is the governor's annual State of the State address, delivered to a special joint session of the Mississippi Legislature.
This joint session of the Mississippi Legislature is now called to order. Please let the House come to attention. This time it gives me great honor and it is a great privilege to introduce my counterpart in the Senate, the leader of the Senate, the Lieutenant Governor of this state, and my good friend, the Honorable Tate Reeves. Please welcome him to the podium.
We're going to have to split these duties more evenly next time. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I'm going to recognize the House Clerk to recognize the committee composed of representatives and senators to escort Governor Bryant and his wife, Deborah, to the Speaker's stand. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lieutenant Governor Reeves and Speaker Gunn announced a committee composed of Senators Angela Turner, Sally Doty, and Lydia Chastanall, and Representatives Chris Brown, Becky Curry, and Oscar Denton to escort the First Lady to the dais. Lieutenant Governor Reeves and Speaker Gunn announced a committee composed of Senators Nancy Collins, Willie Simmons, and Dean Kirby, and Representatives Andy Gibson, Cheryl Lane, and Casey Ure to escort Governor Phil Bryant to the dais.
Thank you again, Speaker Gunn. At this time, I'd like to introduce House Speaker Pro Tem Greg Snowden. I know my colleagues in the Senate and I enjoy working with both Speaker Gunn and Speaker Snowden throughout this session as well as the 3 previous sessions. At this time, I'd also like to recognize the President Pro Tem of the Mississippi Senate, Senator Giles Ward. I also want to take the opportunity at this time to recognize my wife, Ely. The Speaker's wife, Lisa. We're honored to have them with us today, as well as the wife of the President Pro Tem of the Senate, Kay Ward. Kay? Now, let's welcome our statewide elected officials. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Secretary of State Delbert Hosemann. State Treasurer Lynn Fitch, State Auditor Stacy Pickering, Commissioner of Agriculture and Commerce Cindy Hyde-Smith, and Commissioner of Insurance Mike Cheney. Please join me in welcoming them to the chamber. Now, please help me welcome the members of the Mississippi Supreme Court. Again, please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Chief Justice Bill Waller, Jr., Presiding Justice Michael Randolph, Justice Ann Lamar, Justice James Kitchens, Justice David Chandler, Justice Randy Pierce, Justice Leslie King, and Justice Josiah Coleman. Thank you for being here. And now help me welcome the members of our State Court of Appeals. Chief Judge Joseph Lee, Presiding Judge Tyree Irving, Presiding Judge Kenny Griffiths, Judge Donna Barnes, Judge David Ishii, Judge Larry Roberts, Judge Virginia Carlton, Judge James Maxwell II, Judge Eugene Fair, Jr., and Judge Ciola James. Thank you for being with us tonight. Now let us welcome our Public Service Commissioners, Brandon Presley of the Northern District, Lynn Posey of the Central District, and Steve Renfro of the Southern District. And now help me welcome our Transportation Commissioners, Mike Taggart of the Northern District, Dick Hall of the Central District, and Tom King of the Southern District. And now please join me in honoring and recognizing the First Lady of the great state of Mississippi, Ms. Deborah Bryant. And now, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the Governor of the great state of Mississippi, the Honorable Phil Bryant.
Thank you. Oh, good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. It is my high honor to be with all of you at this joint session. And isn't it wonderful to have the ladies up here? They make this look a lot better. I wish I could say that was my idea. Well, maybe I will. I want to welcome to the platform President Pro Tem of the Mississippi Senate, Senator Giles Ward. And you. I am mindful tonight of the absence of my friend Terry Brown. Each time we have appeared here, Terry welcomed me with a strong handshake and Deborah with a prolonged and enthusiastic hug. We will miss our friend. But as it is often said, he is with us tonight. He only has a better seat. 3 years ago, I stood at this podium and delivered my inaugural address. the weather had forced us inside to gather in this historic chamber for the swearing-in ceremonies. I will always remember it was in this chamber I began my life in public service. 20 years later, it's where Deborah and I began our journey as your governor and first lady. Now, I am fairly certain some in this chamber may not agree with all of my policies as governor. But I believe it's safe to say there is universal agreement that Deborah has been one of our state's finest first ladies. From reading to children in classrooms in every county in the state to being a first responder at Louisville, she has served the state and its people with grace and commitment. And she asked me not to say this, but I have to. I often think the good Lord allowed me to become governor just so Mississippians could have Deborah as their first lady. In the 3 years that have passed, we have achieved remarkable things together. So let us look at some of the positive facts about Mississippi. We've created one of the most job-friendly states in America. According to Area Development Magazine, Mississippi ranks in the top 10 states in the nation for economic development. Now, this is a ranking based on input from site selectors across the nation, men and women whose profession is to know each state's economic environment and the potential for productivity. For the third year in a row, I'm very proud to say we have been awarded a silver shovel, representative of breaking ground on a number of new businesses across this state. Only 20 states each year receive this prestigious award. Now, one of my personal favorites is a report that rates Mississippi number 5 in America for growth in women-owned businesses. This according to American Express. The American Economic Development Institute also ranks our Mississippi Development Authority, listen to this, as number 9 in the nation among states' economic development entities. Now, I want to thank Brent Christensen, director of MDA, and his team for a job well done. Now, it's great to have a nationally ranked football team or teams, but we need world-class economic developers as well. And as I often say, economic development is a team sport. Let us look at some other positive indicators. 3 years ago, the unemployment rate in Mississippi was 9.8%. Today, it's around 7.3%. According to our state economists, Mississippi added 8,800 more jobs in 2014 than in 2013. Projected real personal income growth in Mississippi during 2015 is expected to be 3.9%. We also know that personal income in Mississippi buys even more here than it would in other states because of our low cost of living. The Tax Foundation has found income in Mississippi goes 16% further than the national average. So for every $100 in income, a Mississippian would make $116 compared to other states. So many new employees who move to Mississippi actually get a raise. Now, if they move here from Washington, D.C., they could get around a 40% raise. Now, obviously, we'd have to retrain most of them. There are other reliable indicators of the health of our economy. If we look at the amount of individual income tax collected in Mississippi from fiscal year 2011 to fiscal year 2014, we see a nearly $300 million increase. And it would appear working Mississippians are making more money and revenues are rising. We have also seen a decline in the number of people in our state who are receiving unemployment payments. From November of 2013 to November of 2014, there has been a reduction of 24%. These facts may not be printed in a magazine or included in a study, but they prove positive momentum exists here. Now, while we're discussing economic development, let me take this time to assure you the standards for investing in economic development projects under this administration have been demanding. We thoroughly examine each investment for financial stability, probability of success, and the company's history. Our qualifying standards are high and thorough. For your peace of mind, we intend to keep them that way. Now, do not misunderstand my position. We are not yet where we need to be to move to that new level. But we are moving ahead and should not be timid about recognizing the good things in Mississippi. Now, others will certainly revel in the bad, but as for me, I am proud of my Mississippi. Well, we know progress is never immediate. It's often made during the most difficult of times. The key to eventually obtaining lasting success is to stay the course, to never abandon your core beliefs and historic principles. For example, we realize that finding a job can and has changed lives for the better. So we must do all in our power to put people to work. Tonight, I'm announcing the Keep Mississippi Working Fund, a program that will move nearly $50 million over the next 2 years into workforce training efforts without putting a demand on the general fund. You see, Mississippi has one of the healthiest unemployment trust funds in the nation. Due to the decreased demand on the unemployment fund, we will be allocating those dollars for training purposes. These workforce training dollars will be managed by the State Workforce Investment Board and committed to training programs at our community colleges. The Mississippi Economic Council's Blueprint Competitiveness Study identified the need for more skilled laborers in Mississippi and in a centralized agency to manage workforce development. To sum it up, we will keep Mississippi working by investing more in skills training at our community colleges and having faith in Mississippi workers. They can help build the future. I've also requested $3 million in my executive budget recommendation to begin the Mississippi Works Scholarship Fund. This would offer a student in any high school involved in a career readiness program who maintains a C average an opportunity to continue that course of study through a community college on a full scholarship. Now, as a blue-collar kid, I worked my way through junior college. But today's conditions are different, and tuition is more challenging. Our working class kids need an even break to advance their skills. Now let us give them a chance to be skilled craftsmen and women and find them a job. I believe with these two programs, we can focus on creating a world-class workforce. With that accomplished, our economic success can be unlimited. We will keep breaking ground, cutting ribbons across this entire state, and winning more silver shovels. One day I'd like to have a gold one. Now, I will admit to being an eternal optimist who believes Mississippi's best days lie ahead and are within our grasp. Tonight, I can report the state of Mississippi is in the best financial condition in recent history. Our hard work has begun to make measured progress. Mississippi's gross domestic product exceeded $100 billion in 2012 for the first time in history and has continued to do so each year since. In the last 3 years, our state's revenues have cumulatively grown almost 10%. Revenue in fiscal year 2016 is projected to grow by more than $166 million. Our budget now uses little, if any, one-time revenues for recurring expenses, and our rainy day fund is filled to its statutory limit. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, leadership. Because of our state's judicious borrowing and refinancing when interest rates are advantageous, our state's credit rating remains a strong AA. In fact, we have retired as much debt as we have issued, with the exception of economic development financing, which has shown an $11 return for every $1 invested over the last 3 years. In short, we pay our bills, save our money, and invest wisely. Health care continues to be an issue of debate in Mississippi and across the nation. Even without expansion, the Mississippi Division of Medicaid's general fund budget request this year is nearly $1 billion. The Woodwork effect and other provisions of the Affordable Care Act have already resulted in an additional 71,000 Medicaid recipients, resulting in budget increases we can ill afford. To make matters more challenging, this number is projected to rise to 90,000 by July the 1st. Realistically, the conditions surrounding health care are even more uncertain than before. Now, I fully expect dramatic changes in the Affordable Care Act with Republicans in charge of both houses of Congress. A number of the new majority were sent to Washington promising to repeal the Affordable Care Act, an action Congress has attempted in whole or in part more than 40 different times. Now, I do believe we'll see some positive changes proposed, such as portability, national tort reform, and health care savings accounts. Another positive reform I am encouraging is the restoration of Medicare and Medicaid DSH payments. Now, these payments were originally designed to defray the cost of uncompensated care. In an effort to assist our hospitals, I have reached out to our congressional delegation to suggest the portion of the Affordable Care Act that ends Medicaid and Medicare DSH payments should be suspended. This would return revenues to hospitals which continue to provide uncompensated care even in states where expansion has occurred. Now, Congress passed similar provisions restoring Medicaid DSH payments, and restoration of funding for DSH payments were even a part of the president's budget. Now, obviously, elimination of the disproportionate share of hospital payments is a portion of the law that should have been read before it was passed. Most every state's success is largely judged by its education system. Admittedly, our public education system has been a challenge for as long as most of us can remember. In fact, there's no recorded history of Mississippi's public education system showing statewide success. However, I believe the transformational changes brought about by the Mississippi legislature in the past 3 years will begin to show progress. A brief review can begin with the literacy program, which will end social promotion at the critical point of entering the 4th grade. Charter schools, for the first time in Mississippi's history, will offer hope to those children trapped in failing school districts. Funding early childhood learning programs began in our first legislative session together. And this year, I will support doubling the funding for the pre-K collaborative program, the total appropriation of $6 million. Because of our success, Education Week ranks Mississippi number 9 in the nation in preschool enrollment. To put more funding in the classroom, you passed and I signed into law a historic 2-year, $100 million teacher pay raise. Performance-based pilot programs continue in 14 school districts, and over $1 million has gone to teachers who are performing at the highest levels. We have also appropriated $65 million in the past 3 years for the National Board Certified Teacher Program. Nationally certified teachers can receive a $6,000 annual salary increase. Your commitment to this program has resulted in Mississippi becoming number 7 in the nation for board certified teachers. As I have said many times, we must find the best teachers possible and pay them well. You and I together have offered complete scholarships to students achieving high marks on their ACT and who want to become teachers. We have, working with the Institution of Higher Learning, increased the demands on students who major in education in our universities. And we have put into place a dyslexia training program for teachers and funded scholarships to help with this training. Now, I can assure you from personal experience, this response to dyslexia will result in direct benefits. This reading disorder is the #1 reason children drop out of school. If we confront it aggressively, we can see a dramatic decrease in our state's dropout rate and help turn around our reading scores for thousands of Mississippi children. This year, we must also do all in our power to help children with special needs. The Equal Opportunity for Students with Special Needs Act will empower parents with educational choice to get their children the service they need. When only 22.5% of special needs children graduate from high school, something is terribly wrong. I'd ask you to send this bill to my desk. Mississippi's children with special needs and their parents deserve nothing less. Now, let's spend a moment on the reality of education funding. The Education Week Research Center ranks Mississippi as 19th in the nation for state expenditures on K-12 education as a percent of the state's taxable resources. No less authority than the U.S. Department of Education lists our state as number 12 in the nation for school expenditures as a percentage of the state's gross domestic product. My executive budget recommendation increases MAEP funding by $53 million over the current year. Under my recommendation, MAEP funding will reach nearly $2.2 billion, or a 2.5% annual increase. Funding for K-12 overall will reach $2.5 billion. It includes $41 million this year for that second year $100 million teacher pay raise, and $15 million for more reading coaches to assist in the literacy program within the third grade gate. I believe most of us want to fund reforms in education that work and make certain the money goes to the classroom. Each year we have worked together to balance our budget, and this year will certainly be no different, with one exception. This year I intend to take the bold and controversial position that when times are good, we shouldn't spend all the money. In fact, I will ask you to give a raise to the people who need it most, the working people of Mississippi. I have proposed a working families tax cut that will provide an income tax credit to working Mississippians earning up to $52,000 annually. It's non-refundable and would be a tax dividend subject to revenue growth and filling our rainy day fund. Now, I realize the legislative process will generate additional ideas to provide tax relief to Mississippi families. The good news is I am open to any number of tax cuts that puts money in the pockets of working Mississippians. In short, put a tax cut on my desk and I will sign it. 2014 had its challenges, just as every year does. Nothing is ever perfect or controllable. On April 28, a recorded 23 tornadoes struck our state. Particularly hard hit were Louisville and Tupelo. Of the 14 people who lost their lives that tragic day, 10 were in the Louisville area. President Pro Tem Giles Ward's home was totally destroyed, as were so many others. The hospital and extended care facility were badly damaged there in Louisville. Some of the town's biggest employers, including Winston County Medical Center and Natron Wood Products, were closed. As always, in times of disaster, Mississippians pulled together and got to work. The city, county, and state responders set about saving lives and comforting victims. The officials joined the private sector, our Mississippi National Guard, and faith-based organizations to begin rebuilding in all of the affected areas. Within 21 days, a modular hospital was opened. FEMA's first ever system of that success was in Louisville, Mississippi. I am proud to say that Natron Wood Products will reopen as Winston Plywood and Veneer and will become one of the largest plywood manufacturers in North America. Now that's recovery Mississippi style. Joining us tonight is someone who is very important to that recovery. Kirk Liebeck, CEO of Winston Plywood's parent company, New Wood Resources. Please help me welcome Kirk to this chamber. Kirk, thank you very much. Thank you for believing in Mississippi. On December 23rd, 2014, 5 tornadoes struck again. The hardest hit areas this time was Marion and Jones counties. These storms took the lives of 5 Mississippians, including the brother of Senator Billy Hudson. Homes were destroyed and lives were forever changed. Once again, we wept and prayed and thanked God more were not taken. Then we went back to work. On Christmas Eve, I toured the damage and witnessed how the joys of the Christmas season were shattered for so many. But once again, we became Mississippi strong. Since that time, more than 3,200 volunteers have worked more than 19,000 hours. Private donations have exceeded $250,000 for tornado victims. The gift of hope continues across this great state in Winston and Leake and Lamar and Jones and Clark and Rankin and other affected counties. We continue to be ever thankful while expressing man's unending prayer for peace on earth and goodwill towards men. Last year also brought us man-made challenges such as those at the Department of Corrections. This even as we pass the most comprehensive correction and criminal justice reform in this state's history. But as with all challenges, there exist opportunities. With a stellar independent task force to review all contracts within the department, we will make changes to add accountability to the Department of Corrections and beyond. With your help, we will bring long-needed reforms to laws governing state contracts. Including an overhaul of our state's contract review board. Now, this reform also included the appointment of a new commissioner for the Mississippi Department of Corrections. I've selected a tough former federal and state law enforcement officer who will get control both outside and inside the walls. Now, most of you know Marshall Fisher from his years as director of the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics. Please welcome him tonight as the commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Correction. Marshall, thank you. Based on recommendations from the Mississippi Department of Corrections Task Force, I will also ask for your help with several reforms to narrow the use of emergency and single-source contracts across state government. We will ask to transfer control of all corrections farming land to the authority of the Secretary of State and place the corrections inmate welfare account at the Treasurer's office to separate controls of income and expenditures. With your support and the leadership of Marshall Fisher, we will reform the Department of Corrections and make it a system of efficiency, accountability, and outcomes. Mississippi will not tolerate a 19th century correctional system. Rest assured, change is on the way. Last year was historic in so many ways. Some challenging, others positively transformational. It was the year of the creative economy, and more than 22 million visitors came to our state. The potential to increase this number and the $390 million it brings to our general fund is obvious. That's why I'll be asking you this year to invest an additional $5.1 million into tourism. Help us bring the world to Mississippi one visitor at a time, and I will return your investment sixfold. Let us share Mississippi with everyone to help us promote this and other tourism opportunities as Mississippi's ambassador for the creative economy and country music legend, Mississippi's own Marty Stewart. Marty. Good to have Marty Stewart. And they talk about my hair. Good to have you, brother. Like many supporters of our Children's Hospital, I am also working with the University of Mississippi Medical Center to bring a $150 million addition to Blair E. Batson, $120 million of which will be raised privately. The work of the Children's Hospital is a phenomenal success story that has saved the lives of so many. These efforts and many more would never become a reality without the man who has dedicated much of his life to the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me thank Vice Chancellor of the University of Mississippi Medical Center, Dr. Jimmy Keaton. Jimmy, thank you for your service. Thank you, sir. Y'all stand up. Work continues on a new medical school at UMMC. This will allow us to reach our goal of adding 1,000 new physicians by 2025. It's also notable that William Carey University's College of Osteopathic Medicine has graduated its first class of over 90 primary care physicians. Our Rural Physician Scholarship Program and our Office of Physician Workforce Development will keep these doctors here in Mississippi where they're needed most. I also like to remind these students that Physician Practice Magazine has named Mississippi as the best state in America to practice medicine 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. I often tell people, don't believe me, Google it. Physician practice, 2 years in a row. Mississippi has also achieved high acclaim for excellence in telemedicine. In fact, we are one of only 7 states in America to earn an A rating from the American Telemedicine Association, one of 7. I want to thank the Mississippi Telehealth Association for their hard work in bringing cutting-edge health care to Mississippi. I also want to thank this legislature for its commitment to defending Mississippi's Second Amendment rights. Your work has been so successful since the award that I received the NRA Defender of Freedom Award. Thank you very much. Mississippi's automotive industry remains strong. Nissan has expanded its Canton facility by adding 1,300 jobs and rolled off the new Murano, one of 8 different vehicles made in Canton, Mississippi. In February, Toyota in Blue Springs will reach the 500,000 mark for manufacturing Corollas. This outpaced all other Toyota plants in the world. In the world. No Toyota plant on this planet has been so successful. Blue Springs. Other important projects include a baseball stadium in Biloxi, a Mississippi History and Civil Rights Museum in Jackson, and Yokohama's tire factory in West Point. 19 movies were made in Mississippi last year, while the Grammy Museum in Cleveland and the Arts and Entertainment Center in Meridian are being planned or constructed. Now, as the football world watched the SEC, a few other things occurred in our state that demand recognition. Alcorn State University's football team won the SWAC championship. And East Mississippi's Community College became national champions for the 3rd time in 4 years, making football history. And legendary University of Southern Mississippi punter Ray Guy was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2014, joining 8 other Mississippians. Congratulations, Ray. Ray Guy, ladies and gentlemen. Did I say the University of Southern Mississippi? This is a new year for Mississippi and for all of us, filled with promise and challenges. Being an optimist, I always look for the greater possibilities. I believe Mississippi can and will improve its public education system, build a stronger economy, become a healthier place to live, and put our people to work. Now, as national chairman of Jobs for America's Graduates, I believe we must offer every child a pathway to success. I am more determined than ever to see that happen. I believe Mississippi can rise to a new level. But if we are to do so, we must set aside these petty political differences that we have and seek real solutions in both our economic and social environments. Last year, I asked you to make a simple but profound change in our state seal. Some said it was a waste of time, but we knew better. You see, by simply adding our national motto to the Great Seal of the state of Mississippi, we professed our understanding of a higher power over the affairs of men. We expressed a faith that this wonderful state would continue to be blessed. Let us now and forever boldly and without apology affirm tonight, in God we trust. Thank you all for your attention and attendance here tonight. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Mississippi.
Thank you, Governor Bryant, for those remarks. As this joint assembly comes to a close, I would like to recognize the gentleman from Pearl River, the Honorable Mark Formby, to dissolve the joint session.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move this joint session of the Mississippi Legislature now be dissolved.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the motion from the gentleman from Pearl River that this joint assembly be dissolved. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it.
And now the Democratic response.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Ladner and honored to participate in the Democratic response to Governor Bryant's speech. Tonight, Mississippi Democrats will provide you with the facts rather than the rhetoric. Republican leaders have taken us down a road of underfunded schools, underpaid workers, high unemployment rates, crumbling infrastructure. Mississippi Democrats offer a better way forward. We know the truth is important to you and that tough decisions lie ahead of us. When you see the facts, you will agree the Republican leaders' talking points simply aren't true. What they are really up to in Jackson isn't in the best interest of Mississippi's working families.
The indictments on the Gulf Coast in North Mississippi and within the Department of Corrections have opened our eyes to just how easy it is to rig the system and illegally steal taxpayer money. Those in charge in Jackson, both elected and appointed, are allowing this activity. Lucrative contracts are given to their friends without any oversight. There is currently no bidding process for contractors to get our taxpayer money. Democrats are fighting to stop these abuses at the state and local level. It is time for a full accounting from the Republican leaders of everyone who's getting taxpayer money. That's why Democrats in the legislature have filed the Stop Corruption Act. Join us in holding Republican leaders accountable. Tell them to join us in quickly passing the SCA to stop these practices.
Mississippi hospitals are cutting back employees and services, and some are even forcing patients like Medicare recipients and veterans to seek health care somewhere other than their local hospital. These cuts are a result of the refusal of our leaders to request the return of federal tax dollars that are now being sent back to Washington. The insurance exchange favored by Governor Barbour and then later created by Commissioner Cheney has been shut down. This would all mean $3 million a day of new money to our state.
The Republican political spin about job creation is just that, spin. Despite what you've heard Governor Bryant say, Mississippi has 41,000 fewer jobs than we had in 2007. This despite the fact that the population has grown by over 230,000. Democrats have a plan to immediately create jobs without raising taxes or spending money out of the rainy day fund. Simply repay the Department of Transportation the $30 million that was borrowed in 2009 to balance the budget. Repaying this loan would provide the capital to create what would be the equivalent of 9 jobs per mile of roads paved or repaired as we fix our roads and bridges. More than $200 million in excess revenue has been collected this year, and it should be used to make badly needed repairs to our roads and bridges that our children and our families have to travel over. Mississippi Democrats believe any plan to create jobs should transcend party lines. All we ask is our Republican colleagues, let's stop spinning false and inflated job numbers and join us in actually creating real jobs.
Over 200,000 Mississippi voters signed a petition to allow a vote on a constitutional amendment directing the legislature to fund our public schools. We all know that when the legislature refuses to fund public education, the responsibility falls on us at the local level to fund our schools through higher taxes on cars, homes, and businesses. We're tired of helping fund our classrooms through candy and bake sales. Republicans in the legislature have indicated by their votes that they don't want to fully fund public education. Democrats will continue to support full funding of public schools at the state level to reduce the tax burden on homeowners and local businesses.
You see, there is a big difference between Republicans and Democrats in our outlook on issues that we believe should transcend party lines. On almost all issues facing Mississippians, it should not matter what party you identify with. We need grown-up discussions of issues instead of blindly following the party line. That is the attitude Mississippi Democrats have taken and will continue to take again this year on government accountability, jobs, education, and hospitals. There are other issues, however, where the governor just continues to be out of step with Mississippians.
The governor didn't think we could hear him when he said he didn't like falling gas prices. My mom and dad think lower gas prices are good things because we are more concerned about our bills than big oil companies.
When the governor took a trip to France in support of nuclear waste, I was amazed. I'm against it. Democrats are against it. And Republicans and the governor being for nuclear waste to create jobs, what is he thinking?
For the past few years, Republicans have introduced legislation to dramatically change the state retirement system and decrease benefits. They have even talked about ending annual cost of living adjustments, sometimes called the 13th check. Democrats oppose their changes. The recent problems uncovered at Singing River Hospital in Pascagoula show what can happen if Mississippians do not have a strong, secure retirement system. Democrats will protect the retirement system for our teachers and public employees.
Everybody who works for a living should be paid fairly, regardless of their gender. That is why the Democrats support the Evelyn Gandy Family Forward Act to ensure that qualified women in the workplace will not be paid less because she's a woman. We ask our Republicans to join us in this effort.
There are critical issues that should go beyond political parties. Mississippi Democrats believe that you want to see the parties find areas of agreement and work together to advance our state. For these issues to be successfully addressed and for positive action to be taken this year, Mississippi Democrats are asking our Republican colleagues to exhibit some independence and some courage and join Democrats on the front lines in working towards solutions Mississippians deserve. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Mississippi.
You've heard the governor's priorities for the 2015 legislature. What are the lawmakers going to do? Watch MPB's Legislative Review Program At Issue beginning Friday, January 23rd at 7:30 p.m.